Hey everybody, this is Mr. McMahon. Today we're going to cover second wave feminism, and this is the first of a series of videos on this topic. So in this video series we'll try to cover three things that connect to our course objectives. Number one, you'll be differentiating 5 major themes of the second wave feminist movement. There's probably more than these 5, but these are the ones I want you to be familiar with for our exam. And they're also reflected in the Change the World Poetry Foundation audio. 2, you'll demonstrate knowledge of the social context, how they're responding to the conformity from the Cold War, and the backlash as the culture war heats up. And we covered this in the background videos. And we'll explore this as a justice movement, obviously feminism itself, but the overlap with black arts and the Chicano movement. Finally, you will connect this to its cultural influence today. So let's start out with the themes, and we'll try to get through at least 2 of them in this first video. So one of the first themes in the movement's interiority. This is exploring the inner lives of people. We saw that breaking down this separation between our inner lives was a goal of other movements we've looked at, like the New York School and the Beat. And if modernist writers wanted to explore great topics like Stephen's metaphysics or creativity or the wasteland and culture and Eliot, women are going to say, I want to look at what my life's like, what I'm experiencing. So they'll discuss taboo topics that you're not supposed to talk about in public, like mental illness or depression, having children, or choosing not to have children through abortions. And we saw women do this in the past, but they often use mythological figures like Leda and the Swan or Helen of Troy. But now we're going to see them do it through their own lives. So in the poem on the left-hand side, we're going to look at Sexton reflecting on the suicide of Sylvia Plath, a confessional poet we read. And as you'll note, Sexton and Plath were confessional poets. They're also feminist poets. Here's what Sexton says. Thief, how did you crawl down alone into the death I wanted so badly and for so long? The death we said we both outgrew. The one we wore on our skinny breasts. The one we talked of so often each time we drowned 3 extra dry martinis in Boston. So this is Sexton sharing her personal sadness, again a personal feeling, and also her own mental illness. She shares with us that she talked about suicide with Plath too. So this would be a recurring topic in her poems, and by bringing this to something that literature can discuss, this would disseminate through the popular culture. As you're aware now, we see suicide prevention campaigns and campaigns about promoting mental health. So the women's movement's at the forefront of this issue. And this is a recurring theme throughout the writing. So let's move on to another explicit goal of the movement, rejecting misogyny, patriarchy, and tokenism. So as you know from the background readings, patriarchy is a system dominated by men, and misogyny is more or less a belief that men are superior to women, and the feminist writers are going to reject these notions. And these were notions that were explicit throughout all of American life at the time. For example, women would have to have a man, either a husband or a father, co-sign for them to get a bank account. In newspaper sections, there was a section for men with men's jobs and women with women's jobs. And if you're a man, these are going to be the higher paying jobs. So this is just a society with explicit misogyny throughout it. So their poems will explicitly reject patriarchy as being toxic and the social norms of patriarchy in the 1950s, 60s, and 70s. They're going to claim new roles for themselves, and they'll also take pride in traditional roles that maybe men have discounted as being less strong or worthy than what have been traditionally male gendered jobs. So in Plath's Daddy, she says, I've killed one man, I've killed 2, the vampire who said he was you. So she takes on the role of the vampire slayer, the monster slayer, and then after she kills it, there's a stake in your fat black heart. and the villagers never liked you. She's the one that freed the people, and they dance on patriarchy's grave. Daddy, daddy, you bastard, I'm through. The other goal here will be to reclaim past women and past achievements by women, embodied by Rich's poem when she dives into the wreck. Rather than soaring high like we see in past poetic movements, she's going to go low and discover what's been hidden and taken away. The last thing to think about is this metaphor of the velvet chair. This is when you put a woman in a picture with like 8 or 9 men, and you say, see, we have diversity. We have 1 woman and 10 men. And the feminist writers are going to say, equality. We need to have a mixture of men and women, not a token woman. This is embodied when the National Book Award is shared between multiple women in the mid 1970s, and they claim it for all women. And just a couple more looks at these poems. We see Clifton wishing for her sons to experience what it's like to be a woman. I wished for them cramps. I wished for them a strange town and the last tampon. I wished them 1 week early and wearing a white skirt. I wished them 1 week late. So this is talking about having a period and the mental stress that comes with that. If it comes 1 week early, it ruins your skirt. If it comes 1 week late, that's a pregnancy scare. And of course, just the tampons, you're in a strange town, where you're going to buy them, and the cramps and pain that comes with it. In Lord's the Woman thing, she talks about hunters coming back to camp, and they haven't brought the food, so the women are hungry. But then meanwhile, the woman thing my mother taught me bakes off its covering in snow like a rising, blackening sun. This strength for being a woman. Again, she's in the role of the gatherer rather than the hunter, but she finds power in it. Alright, so this is the end of the first video in this segment, and we'll do 1 or 2 more.